The Army Painter is my favorite hobby company in the entire world. My desk is literally full of Army Painter products, and it takes me from being an average painter to putting above tabletop standard models out into the tournament scene. Not only that, but the Army Painter has sponsored more competitive play than any other hobby company in the industry. They allow us to keep doing the things that we do. If you enjoy the Army Painter as much as I do, head over to thearmypainter.com where you can use the discount code ARTOFWAR5 to get a discount on your next order. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Art of War stream. We're going to be talking about the Leagues of Votann today with the Hearthband Detachment.
That's a cool name.
It is a very cool name, and as you might imagine, it buffs Hearth units, like
so is
Hearthguard.
It Hearthband and then Oathband?
Yes,
okay.
Oathband is the other one.
Cool.
So really excited to dive into this one, as finally Leagues of Votann are going to have a second detachment. You know, all these indexes that have been waiting for a codex, you've been stuck playing the same playstyle the entire time. So it's really nice to have Grotmas just say, here's a second thing to consider. And I think that's going to open up a lot of players from the casual scene up to the competitive one to say, let's try some different ideas. Let's see if they work.
Yeah, codexes that get new detachments, they're great. It's like plus 20%, right, detachments. But an index that gets a detachment is like 100% more of things you can explore, and that's super cool.
Absolutely. So we're going to dive into this bad boy and kind of give the detachment a nice little review. So if you're joining us, please do give us a like, subscribe to the channel, and tell your friends about us. All of that massively helps us grow. In addition, leave a comment below letting us know what you think of the Hearthband detachment, what do you think of our video, and how you're feeling about Grotmas overall. We'd love to hear your feedback. In addition, if you want to see my new list idea for the Hearthband detachment, as well as, in the future, some games with the detachment, please do check out The Worm at theworm.vhx.tv. There's a 3-day free trial, but even better than that is a 50% off your first month code, Grotmas2024 in all caps. And you'll join our awesome community and get access to content for every single army in the game, not just the Votann, but plenty of other ones.
Absolutely. Well, let's dive into it.
Let's
do it. Got some methodical annihilation, Seegs.
Oh, tell us about it, Jack.
Okay, so every time a Leagues of Votann model from your army makes an attack other than blast that targets the closest eligible target or a target that is within engagement range, you reroll hit rolls of 1, and if your unit is a Call, Einhir, Hearthguard, or Uthar, improve the AP characteristic by 1.
So what does all this mean? Let me break it down. Yeah. So excluding blast weapons basically means that your Thunderkin that have the Grav weapon, which is blast, won't be able to benefit, and your Hearthguard's blast weapon won't be able to benefit.
But it says in the flavor text that the kin work to blast a path through the enemy lines.
It's a poor choice of words.
It is. So why does it not benefit blast? It seems like a weird choice.
I also don't think it would be that strong, personally. I mean, it'd be strong, but not like ludicrous, not game-breaking, certainly. So it's excluding the blast weapons. You have to be target the closest eligible or be within engage range.
Yeah,
okay?
So you get it in combat and you get it in shooting with everything except blast weapon. Again, that's kind of weird. I don't get that,
now,
but whatever.
All your different units that you can have can reroll 1s against the closest eligible or in combat. However, to get the +1 AP, you need to be Hearthguard, which will include the Einhir champion if you put him in a Hearthguard squad.
Yep.
Or it's going to include Hearthkin warrior units.
Led by Call or Uthar.
Exactly. So those are the only units that are going to benefit from the +1 AP.
It's a bit odd that they call out Calls and Uthar and also Hearthguard, because that's what's going to be joined by Call and Uthar.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So the warriors can get some buffs in this one, but really this is a detachment called, if you love Hearthguard,
and you do love Hearthguard.
I do love Hearthguard.
You do love Hearthguard.
And Hearthguard with the reroll 1s, because they can already pop out of a land fort and get reroll wounds. So reroll 1s is a nice bonus that they haven't had before.
And if they're judged, you reroll hits because you're +1 to hit, and then reroll 1s.
They get +1 to hit, so they hit on 2s.
Right, and then rerolling hit rolls.
And then reroll 1s, yeah. So they're massively efficient. And +1 AP against close eligible, that's not bad.
Yeah, just spray them down with, the stupid disintegrator thing.
It means their combat can start to really slam as well.
AP2, right? And so it goes to AP3?
AP3.
Just base, right? Just base AP3. It's pretty deep.
So let's look at some of these enhancements. First up, we have Bastion Shield, which is 25 points. This is going to go on any Leagues of Votann model. Each time a ranged attack targets the bearer's unit, if the attacking model, so model, not unit, is within 12 of the bearer's unit, -1 to the incoming AP.
That is pretty good. That's pretty darn good, actually. In combat, they have to be within 12 of you.
They absolutely do.
And a lot of the time in shooting, they
But
either
it's
need to...
each time a ranged attack.
My bad. Sorry.
It would be awesome if it worked against combat
Rip.
too.
Yeah, no. So, okay. I mean, ranged attacks, there are some ranged attacks that only have a range characteristic of 12 or less. You're not as worried about those as others, but they do exist. And then also, a lot of the time your opponent will have to be within 12 of you in order to do what they want to do. I think this is a good enhancement, honestly.
You'll see that there's a strat here which manipulates Hearthguard movement, which allows them to get closer into the enemy lines, which may make this more valuable.
Yes.
But on the surface, it's a little pricey for what you get. I really wish it should work in combat, frankly.
Yeah, if it worked in combat, I thought it did. I was all set to be like, wow, this was really good. But as it is, it's only okay.
Then we have the Quake Multi-Generator.
Jeez, okay.
So this goes on a call. It's 15 points. It's used in your shooting phase. After the bearer shoots, they pick a non-Titanic unit that is hit, and then until the start of the next turn, that enemy unit is suppressed, and by being suppressed, they are -1 to hit, both shooting and combat.
Sure. You split your fire off, you hit the thing that you want to suppress. Essentially, you pick one thing within, what's the range of his gun?
Usually 18 or 24, I believe.
Okay, so
but 18 for sure.
Basically, in your shooting phase, you just pick a unit within 18, and it gets -1 to hit. You have to shoot your gun at it, but like whatever.
Yeah, the Vulcanite's 18. I believe the Bolter is 24.
Sure. You might even give him the Bolter just because he's constantly going to be splitting fire.
It's okay. It's not really going to be amazing. Iron Skein is 10 points. It gives a Leagues of Votann model +2 wounds. You'll probably see this most often on an Einherjar champion, who's already quite durable, go up to 7 wounds at 2-up save, 4-up invul.
It's 10 points. It's 10 points. Like if you have 10 points, throw it on, yeah. High call.
Tell us about the high call.
Call model only. Each time a model in the bearer's unit is destroyed by a melee attack, if it is not fought on a 4+, it gets to fight, and then it's removed. Wow, that is 30 points, huh? Yeah, not sure why that's 40 points.
Or 30, yeah.
Sorry, 30. They fight on a 4-up, and that's where my brain got confused. No, it's 30 points. Not sure why that's 30 points.
And thing is, in a lot of detachments, when you see a rule like this, usually if it's a detachment that buffs certain units, they get an additional one. Like, say, on a 3-up, Hearthguard units would be able to. That would be at least a little bit more interesting.
4-up fight on death is so inconsistent, and you have to die in combat, which is probably not where they're going to die like 70% of the time. And they're also just not that hitty in combat, right? Like, if 4 or whatever Hearthguard swing, like, I will barely notice it as the opponent. I do not. That could have been 15 points, and I still would be like, well, if you have open slot on the call, might as well. But, like, 30 points, and you have to take a call, which is not, like, I think you usually just take champions, right?
Yep.
So, no. No, I'm not doing that.
I don't think I'll be doing it.
No.
All right, tell us about the first strat. I want you to read the name.
Breckenauts?
Breckenauts!
Opponent's shooting phase or the fight phase, just after an enemy unit selected its targets, you pick a call, Uthar, Einherjar, Hearthguard unit, which is all the same thing. From your army that was selected as the target of one or more of the attacking unit's attacks, you get a 4-up invul.
This is mostly going to be going on a unit that has a 2-up save, so whether you need a 4-up invul is questionable, especially since you're often in cover. However, the case where you would use this strat is if you decide to run larger squads of the Hearthkin Warriors. 10-man unit of them, you pop the 4-up invuln. They're much more annoying to kill than otherwise, but they also don't do as much damage as Hearthguard.
Yeah.
So you can make 10-man battle line units more annoying to deal with, but it's kind of meh.
You also have to put a call, or you have to put Uthar in there.
And you'll see in our recap that it's going to go, when we recap the rules, that it kind of goes against what you need to do in this detachment to get efficiency. Then we have a Sure Purpose. 1 CP. In the fight phase, you're going to pick a Leagues of Votann unit from your army. Till the end of the phase, each time model in the unit makes a pile-in or consolidate, you do it at 6 inches rather than 3.
That's pretty good. That is unironically pretty good. It's the same strat as the Flyblown Host, and it's really good in the Flyblown Host. It's a little bit worse here because you don't move 5 and you don't, well, you do actually move 5. Never mind.
Yeah. Hearthguard aren't fast.
But it isn't about like slingshotting Death Shroud around the board. But you can, crack a screen with a unit of Hearthguard and then send a unit, because this is any unit, you can send a unit of Berserks like 6 inches through, right? Because you hit the unit, there's a screening unit, you hit it with both of your units, the Hearthguard clean it, the Berserks then pile in 6, get to a unit behind it and deliver bonk bonk.
Bonking justice is strong.
Of course. It's And then you can consolidate 6 inches, tie things up, take objectives. It's a good utility strat.
Yeah, and this also synergizes a decent amount with Bastion Shield, where you can shove the Hearthguard unit with it further so that almost everything's going to be within 12 the next turn if they want to be in a reasonable spot.
Yeah, that's a good strat. I like that one.
Next up, Superior Craftsmanship. This is fight phase, 1 Leagues of Votann unit from your army. Till the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit makes an attack that targets a monster or vehicle, they get +1 damage.
That is in combat.
It is in combat, so Berserks can go up to damage 4.
Are the Plasma Axis sweeps any interesting with this?
Yeah, they do certainly get more interesting as well, although they're going into a monster vehicle, so...
You probably want the hammers.
If you don't have the second Judgment token for +1 to wound, you probably still want the hammers.
Also, it's 2 CP, so this isn't something you're going to rack out every time you hit combat.
Yeah. But it also helps the Hearthguard really just mash something that they need to.
Yeah.
It can be useful. 2 CP is expensive, but when you need it, you'll spend it.
Yes. Okay, Unyielding Aggression. In your movement phase, just after a Leagues of Votann infantry unit from your army falls back, is eligible to shoot and declare a charge. This is good. You used to have this on anything. Now it's infantry. Yeah. I mean, you still have that detachment, I suppose.
Yeah, so the Oathband can do it on anything. This is only infantry, but at the end of the day, your Hearthguard are the main thing that is getting this anyway, so you still get it, which is important.
And this is any infantry, so your Zerks can also do it. This does feel like an infantry-based army, where you're going to be taking a lot of Hearthguard and possibly some Berserks.
Absolutely. Materialization Matrices. This is 1 CP used in the reinforcement step of your movement phase. It allows you to 6-inch Deep Strike with a unit that has Deep Strike, which means Teleport, Crest, Hearthguard units.
That seems pretty good.
It is going to be used because one of Votann's biggest weaknesses is the ability to get deep into your opponent's half of the board. This is one of the ways you can do it. And it's going to be used.
Yeah, no, for sure. All the strats here are 1 CP except for the +1 damage in combat. That one's 2, which I do think is really going to hold that one back, but whatever. Fury of the Hearth. 1 CP in your shooting phase, a Hearthguard unit that has not been selected to shoot. All of its non-blast weapons. Again, why?
It's too strong.
I don't understand why the blast weapons get left. There's no reason. Why did they get left out? Who knows? They get rapid fire 1.
So it means you're Vulcanite, effectively, is what you're going to go for.
Like 10 shots if you're within half range.
It doesn't entirely make up for not having Sustain 2 anymore, but it's pretty close, actually.
Yeah, I mean,
because Sustain 2 works on all your weapons, whereas this only works on the Vulcanite.
No, this also works on the Plasma, right? So you can double shot your Plasma.
You can do it on the Plasma as well.
Pretty decent, actually. Especially with reroll hit rolls of 1 and +1 AP, they go to like AP 4.
Yep.
Okay, the Plasma double shooting is actually legitimately quite solid.
Way better, and I have a Plasma unit for sure. And obviously you can 6-inch Deep Strike the unit so that you can make sure that you get in half range.
And you just go, bang, 20 shots out of a unit that was statted like it shoots 10.
Yep.
That's pretty cool. That is legitimately quite good. What's the range on them, 18?
The Vulcanite's 18, the Plasma's 24.
Okay, so slightly longer range, and then if you're within 12 inches, it's 20 shots. Yeah, Vulcanite gets a little better with this. The Plasma gets a lot better with this.
Yep. It still has the problem is if you're shooting not at the closest eligible, you won't get the benefit of the extra AP or the reroll ones.
Right. And you can't shoot into combat, so the being in combat with them thing doesn't work. But you can fall back, shoot, and charge. So.
But you can fall back, shoot, and charge. Yep, absolutely.
That's really good. Actually, taking the Plasma, which is 1 shot, and taking it up to 2 means that you're going to do a lot of damage with those Plasma units.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I like that.
All right, so that's the detachment here. So the big thing that's missing that you're like, where is it? Is the interaction with judgment tokens. Because the other detachment, or the army roll, first of all, is judgment tokens. So you get +1 to hit if they have 1, you get +1 to wound if there's a second one. And the Oathband detachment started originally where, in the original index, you would pick one enemy unit to start with 2 judgment tokens. So you'd have +1 to hit, +1 to wound against it. Obviously, Votann at that point is a bunch of weapon skill and ballistic skill 4+ units outside of Hearthguard and some of the characters, which meant you basically didn't do damage until your opponent killed a good amount of your army and you had judgment tokens.
Yeah.
They then changed that so that you picked 4 units at the start to have +1 to hit, +1 to wound against, and you also have a bunch of other tools. You have a strat to gain additional judgment tokens. You also have the Appraising Glare enhancement. This detachment doesn't interact with judgment tokens in any way, which means at the present moment, where judgment tokens are critical to the army, this detachment is wildly inefficient.
It is. It's only efficient for Hearthguard doing the shooting the closest thing, charging the closest thing, and it's efficient for that, but that does not make an army. A lot of the time in Oathband, basically, people are concerned, oh, he's going to be +1 to hit and wound against me. Oh my God, I'm going to die so fast. Like, no. Votann with +1 to hit and wound do damage like other armies do normally. And so without it, pretty inconsistent. And it's not that you won't have any judgment tokens, but man, getting to 2 at a relevant time against relevant targets is quite tough. And it's pretty gameable as well on your opponent's side. Like, it's not gameable with Oathband because the 4 things your opponent is going to want you to, not have tokens on. Guess what? Sorry, bud. They do have tokens on them. And then at that point, it's probably not worth trying to game it with other units that you didn't select. So that's fine.
What Jack means by game is that if one thing has 2 judgment tokens already and their other 3 key units don't, they'll shoot the other 3 ones, but they'll try not to finish you off. They might split fire or do other stuff, and then the one with judgment tokens or some nonsense unit will finish you off and kill you.
Have my real unit kill like 4 Hearthkin warriors and have a scout unit come in and stab the last guy. And then you're like, oh, I hit you on force. It's also especially vulnerable to this because, like, if you don't deal with the scouts, they might be the closest thing, and you don't get a detachment rule unless you have your, super expensive unit clearing all the stuff that's right in front of you. That could be a little rough.
My opinion is that this detachment doesn't currently function with Votann as an army, as a competitive army. I think you can create a flavorful, fun army here with Hearthguard spam. That just has weaknesses, big weaknesses.
My thought is I think you can make a really good list with this at 1,000 points. I don't think you can make a really good 2,000 point list. Because once you run out of the 3 units of Hearthguard, your army stops having rules. And that's not amazing. You can fall back, shoot, and charge with infantry, but you've already taken 3 units of the infantry that you're going to be using that on. And then after that, I guess it's the whatever, the Thunderkin, but you can't take the good weapon because the good weapon doesn't benefit. I mean, you can, but then it gets no benefit. So doesn't feel great.
I really don't see how this detachment can in any way compete with the index detachment, which is something that we probably see for other armies because the index detachment usually is quite strong. It's well balanced. It interacts with everything. It's strong. This was always going to have a hard time kind of competing with it. However, this went way too restrictive with not enough power.
There should be some way to toss out judgment tokens.
I think because the thing is you get the additional 4 starting judgment tokens plus the additional CP in Oathband. Yeah. That's a really good detachment rule. At least it was updated.
They compensated for the fact that Votann have pretty underwhelming stats across the board by upping Oathband from 1 target unit gets 2 judgment tokens to 4. And because they compensated for the lackluster data sheets on the detachment, it means that any other detachments also need to come baked in with a substantial increase in power.
Yeah.
And this one doesn't. It benefits Hearthguard. And I've talked in the past about how much I don't like detachment design like Canoptic Court, where Canoptic Court tells you here are the 6 data sheets that you get any kind of buffs at all, and the rest of them are just have to live and die on their own, and they usually don't. This is more restrictive than that. This is 1 data sheet. This is 1 data sheet gets rules. Everyone else...
Technically a second one if you put a call or Uthar in it.
We're not going to take Hearthkin Warriors with a call.
Also, on top of that...
We're just not doing that.
You have to shoot the closest eligible just to get reroll 1s.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
There are a handful of strats that apply to infantry, but by and large, this detachment has rules for Hearthguard. That's it. So you take 3 units of Hearthguard. Now the rest of your list kind of sucks. And the Hearthguard aren't spectacular. They're not better necessarily than Oathband.
Yeah.
Hearthguard.
In Oathband, you have Void Armor. You also have access to the Sustain 2. Fallback, shoot, and charge when you need it.
They're probably a little better in this detachment than in Oathband, but the rest of your list is substantially worse. Your army does not shoot that hard. I don't know. Don't love it. I do not love the detachment giving cool benefits to 1 data sheet.
The enhancements are pretty lackluster. I just don't see what was going on here besides Hearthguard are cool, which is they are
true. They are cool.
They are cool, but that's not an army.
If they just buffed Leagues of Votann infantry people would get the memo. The best infantry to take at that point would be Hearthguard. And they get all the best buffs and whatnot. You take Hearthguard and you take Berserks and you take the Thunderkin. That's all cool. But because they benefit, well, Call, any unit joined by Call, any unit joined by Uthar, or Hearthguard, it's the same thing. It's all Hearthguard. You have 3 units that do cool things. Now you're done.
I feel like whoever wrote this really missed the annihilation part of methodical annihilation.
It's methodical already.
It's not. It's not.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think luckily the index detachment is amazing and extremely good. And so you're going to be leaning on that. I don't see how this is going to see much play in the competitive scene for the foreseeable future.
If they changed it to...
I think they have to.
Yeah, if they just changed everything to Leagues of Votann infantry, I think that'd be more interesting.
Absolutely.
You still reroll hit rolls of 1, so like, I don't know,
They
Berserks.
get rid of the closest eligible too at the same time.
Yeah.
That doesn't need to be there.
I don't think it needs to be there. I think you just make it Leagues of Votann infantry, and then maybe you can let it rip, you know? If everything gets +1 AP real hits of 1, maybe it's okay getting the judgment tokens the old-fashioned way.
But how you have to get them in this detachment is literally taking 5-man warrior squads and just tossing, like literally charging them into stuff. And
don't you have to take a Sagittar to do that too?
Yes, you have to take Sagittars,
which I mean
to split them up.
Is fine.
Yeah, it's still a good transport. It just is not. It's even more inconsistent than if it has judgment tokens.
I mean, it's a good way to hold Berserks, which you do want in this detachment. But yeah, not a huge fan. You need to take a lot of units and then get your opponent to kill them so your units actually do damage.
With the units that you need to kill back.
Yeah.
It's
not ideal.
It's like playing Index Votann again. Early days. So
not ideal.
Let us know if you disagree. If you think there's some silver linings or some real shining stars here, let us know. We'd be happy to hear those comments. But in addition, please do give us a like, subscribe to the channel, and tell your friends about us. All of that massively helps us grow. In addition, if you do want to see the lists I've come up with, which do involve a lot of Hearthguard.
30, maybe?
There are some versions that have 30. Check out the
Hearthguard battle line. That would do it.
I'll take
60 of them.
Any buff with Hearthguard, I'm taking it, baby. So if you do want to see that, and as well as some games, check out the Worm at theworm.vhx.tv. There's a 3-day free trial, and in addition, right now, for a limited time, there's a 50% off your first month coupon code Grotmas2024, all caps on that, and you'll join access to our awesome international Discord community, in addition to content for every single army in the game. So if you're following Grotmas intently, you want to see where all the armies are going to lie, you want to see our different list ideas, come on over to the Worm and check out all the awesome videos we have out right now. All right. Thank you so much, everybody, and hope you enjoyed this video. We'll see you all next time for plenty of more content. So long for now.